bunch of redneck Robin Hoods. Bunch of redneck Robin Hoods. Hey, we're living good. Back in the woods.
Time for Bush Talk Brazil with our buddy Giuliano, and let's bring him up in the chat room. Hello, my brother Giuliano. How you doing, buddy?
I'm cool, bro. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. How was your New Year's?
Oh, it was great, actually. Pretty calm. I didn't do anything special. Stayed with the family here. Nothing. Actually, Christmas was more like of a party because then the whole family was together and everybody, but it was cool altogether.
Very good, very good.
How was your holidays?
We had a great holiday, and today's my wife's birthday.
Oh, congratulate her! I'm congratulating her for her b-day.
I will. I'll let her know. So she wanted me to tell everybody hi tonight and let you all know she's in the other room eating her cake and having a good time. But so everything's good here. We're going to be cold. We're going to be in the negative Fahrenheits up here this coming week.
Oh my gosh!
I can send some down to you if you'd like.
Oh, yeah, please do me that favor, Rich. Do me that favor, man. It's so hot down here right now, dude. You can't believe it. It's been one of the hottest weeks so far in these past months.
Oh man.
Yeah, for people who like the hot weather, it is great. I myself, I'm not a big fan of really hot weather, but anyway, that's how it is down here at this time of the year, anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So what do you got for us tonight, Giuliano?
Yeah, we are going to continue talking about the survival kit contents that you might add to your gear when you come down to Brazil. People might remember last week we played the video of my survival kit. Do you happen to have that video there on you easily?
I'm sure I can grab hold of it here. Give me a second to go find it again.
Okay, because
which kit was this?
Well, that's my main kit, the one which has the modern equipment. Because I actually have several types of kits, depending on what I'm doing and how long I'm staying. The one that I showed on that video is what I call my main survival kit, which is the one I would take in case I want to go to an area which I have no idea what it is, and I know it is like a tropical forest. One thing I want to emphasize is that the kit you guys will see was developed to my area here in Brazil, the Atlantic forest regions and areas which I go to. If I went to the Amazon or to the Pantanal, which are other tropical areas we got down here, I would probably have to change my kit a little bit, either add a few items or remove a few items according to the place I'm going to, because each place has specific needs. For example, if I went to Pantanal or even to the Amazon, I would probably want me one of those, I forgot what you call those harpoons, which were made for catching frogs. You call them a gig? Frog gig, is that right? I forget the kind of harpoon. I know that Dave is pretty fan of those because I've seen several old videos. He making those out of bamboo. You like split the bamboo tip onto three.
The gigs?
Gigs, that's right, those gigs.
There you go. Now I have one here. It's your survival and bushcraft kit update. Is that the one?
Yeah, it is the one you played last. I don't quite remember what it is called. It is the last one you played. Hold on a second. Yeah,
Oh,
that's the one. Is it me with the camouflage background in the back?
I don't know until I play it a little bit here.
Tive muita dor de não ter
Yeah, it
paz.
might be. It might be it.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah, that's it. Yeah, you're
Tive
sitting there with a
muita
ball
dor de
cap.
não ter.
That's right. Yeah. So please,
Yeah.
you can play that one. So just to finish my first remark here on the items that I carry in that kit, those were actually they were thought out after several experiences, several trips to the bush, especially trips in which I would be using the items of my survival kit for like short overnighters and that kind of stuff.
All right.
And then I will discuss the items again once people have watched the video. Let's cut to the chase, and I think that should make it easier and better for people now.
All right. Well, let me play this video here. I'll mute myself real quick.
Okay.
Pensando que esse mundo é tudo ter, mas só desfrui de pena pela estrada. Beleza na pobreza que viver. Viver na prostituição, louvado seja o coração das casas abandonadas. Foro de cego nas portas das igrejas. E o erro da solidão da desigualdade. Quantas coisas nesse mundo. Amor, corria viola no refrão. Viola, podia,
Hello there. I think all of my friends out there, all of you guys who usually watch my videos, I believe that most of you are already familiar with the concept of a survival kit and you understand the importance of having a survival kit when you get out there to the bush. When we look at primitive people and we check archaeological record, we see that primitive man they had some sort of survival kit on them when they went out to the bush, to the boondocks, whatever it is that they lived back there in the past, like 5,000 years ago. We have Otzi, that Mumi, the Iceman who was found back in Italy, he had some sort of primitive survival kit himself. Well, my survival kit has evolved throughout the years. When I first started going to the bush, getting out there, I had a very basic and very simple survival kit. And now, let's say that it has evolved based on my personal experience, based on the bush time that I've had so far, and I've been able to try different items, change items, improve certain aspects of my survival kit. Now, regardless of the types of objects or items or components you decide to add to your survival kit, one really important thing is your survival kit should at least to a degree try to reach out those, let's say, important areas regarding survival. Those 6 areas which will make a difference between getting out alive of a survival situation you may be facing. Those areas or aspects would be shelter, fire, water, signaling, navigation, and food to an extent to at least allow you to navigate, to move out of the place where you are and try self-rescue in case you can't be rescued, in case you have decided that moving out of the place where you are is the best thing to do. I'm gonna show you guys a little bit of the items I got inside these pouches, which make my survival kit. My shelter, the shelter system that I use for my survival kit, and it goes inside the main bag of the VersiPack. My shelter system. First, paracord. 3 rows of paracord.
to help me build up my shelter. Secondly, a hammock. Very nice, compact, lightweight hammock, which is stored in this heavy-duty plastic to help protect it better. And even in case my survival kit gets in the water, I know that the place where I'm gonna sleep in is dry, not wet. This is a Brazilian Army poncho which I can stretch above my hammock on a diagonal shape, like a diamond shape, which should protect me from, rain, and will definitely lift me up the ground, lift me off the ground, and I won't have problems, because definitely the places where I go to here in Brazil are not really good for, you know, people to sleep on the ground. Also have the space blanket, mylar blanket, right? Everybody knows this. And I actually got to know these thermal pad, let's call them like this, a few weeks ago after Mac gave these two sachets to me. And what they are is these bags which you just tear apart here, tear open, give them a good shake. It will activate a chemical here. They will react and it will produce like heat. And it says it's good for like 18 hours of heat. They say you can stuff it in your pockets, in your jacket. It should add some extra warmth to your body in case you need it. I don't know how really well they work. I never tried them, but I'm willing to give them a try next winter. I mean, this winter, as it's the winter season is approaching here in Brazil. Also, on this pouch, I carry this extra compass here. There's another compass that goes inside this other pouch, just for, I like to have extra compasses. They're really lightweight. It's a good thing to have. Here I have repellent. Depending on where you are, bugs and insects can be a pain. So if you have like bug repellent, it should definitely help you. It's not like an essential item that I need for my survival, but it's an item of comfort which will help add into the psychological aspect of my survival, which is going to add more comfort. Just not having those mosquitoes and bugs flying around you. And again, so lightweight, doesn't take much room, and it fits perfectly inside this outer pouch that the Versi pack has. So this is all I got for my shelter system. These are the items which are stored inside the pouch that goes on the Versi pack. Other than the fire kit, I have my sharpening kit here too, which is actually this stone, this diamond rod, and these two files. Actually, my sharpening kit is the only part of the system, of my survival kit system, which I use other than if I found myself in an emergency situation, because I will have to restore the edge of my tools from time to times. And I like to use what I do is actually I use these tools here to retouch the edges of my blades. So other than the items I use to sharpen my blades, I have my fire kit here. And my fire kit consists of this little container with Vaseline to help make artificial tinder. I have these lamps which can help me start fire by using the sun, since the sun is always there and I don't have to use any of my fire components here. I have a big lighter, instant fire. I have these storm-proof matches that are protected in this plastic bag here, sealed with tape. and everything goes inside this plastic container, which should also help protect it from water. I have this ferro rod which can be used by one hand only. I can easily make fires just striking this against the floor, against the tinder, and pressing this button, this lever here, whatever it is. It will create like a friction area against the rod and will throw sparks out of it. Really nice item. Here I have my primitive torch, which is nothing but piece of cotton saturated with Vaseline, and it goes inside a metal tube, and I can hold it pretty much like a primitive lighter or some kind of a torch. Also, inside this rubber bag, rubber pouch that I made, I have another ferro rod stored in this pen case, pen container. I made it. I got magnesium block, a striker, and more artificial tinder, cotton saturated with Vaseline, and of course I can always use these pieces of rubber, these rubber bands, and cut this pouch if I need, if I have to help me make fire. Inside I have Band-Aid, army bandage, and this box, this case with more Band-Aid, the instructions of how to use the poison extractor. This is pretty much like a syringe you use to suck out the poison right after you get bitten. You have these adjustable tips which will vary according to the type of bite you got. So you have to adjust it, see which one will fit the area better. You use this to shave the hair to improve the vacuum, the sucking capability. And then if you do it like at least 5 minutes right after you got bitten, you will increase your chances to extract the poison without, before it spreads in your system, spreads in your body, and gets you in some real trouble. Of course, this is one of those things which we hope we'll never have to use them, but if we have to, I'll be glad I have this, and this will be like one of those last case scenarios, because there won't be enough time for me to get to a proper hospital, to a proper place where they can treat me, so I have to do it by myself, and it should take care of that problem. Inside this pouch that goes on the right side of my Versi pack, you have all my navigation and signaling equipment, and that's what I'm going to show you right now. For signaling, I have these two light sticks, which you know how they work. You just break them, give them a good shake, and they will shine for like 12 hours. A Brazilian Army whistle that blows a very loud sound. Good old flashlight for the night to minimize fright, right? And reflecting mirror, which is a steel mirror. I used to reflect the sunlight. It is protected and stored inside this case that I made. It's nothing but cardboard that I folded, and I wrapped duct tape around it. And also I got here two compasses that I carry, which will help me navigate. Inside this kit also goes my pace counter, but I don't have it here now because I took it out a few days ago, and it is somewhere else here. I gotta look for it. But that's another item that goes here, and I'll put it back as soon as I find it. Finally, we got the last pouch of my Versi pack, the one that goes in front of everything else. And this is the place where I store the water items and some other, components that have multi-use that could be used in more than one way. Let's start with the water. Well, I have this heavy-duty plastic bag. It holds 5 liters of water inside, and I have the duct tape to help me repair it, if I poke a hole in there, or use it for any other thing that requires duct tape. I also have these pills which are called chlorine 1 here. They are good. Each pill is good for 1 liter of water, and after I have filtered the water and stored it inside the plastic bag, I'll put one of these pills and they will take care of, each one of them takes care of 1 liter of water. Now I have some other elements that have several purposes. Here in this bag I have sugar, salt, and like a cube of some kind of seasoning you can put add to your soup, and this will actually provide some energy, carbohydrates, salt, minerals, and even some fat when I have to navigate out of my survival situation if needs be, if I decide that I have to make self-rescue. Also 2 sachets of carbohydrate, again same purpose as the other one. Steel wool, I can use this to start fires, used to remove rust out of my blades, or I can use this on my hammock string to prevent ants from climbing and walking around my hammock, and thus it will should help me having a nice decent night. Iodine 2% could be used to treat water or treat some wounds, some injuries, anything that I like a cut. I got some first aid items, as like I have already showed you guys. So this one here has multifunctional purposes. In this little bag here I store needles, thread, tweezers, this little blade, and this little sharpening stone that could be used to help me repair some gear, stitch some clothes, do any kind of work that requires needle, thread, and this kind of thing. And the tweezer is also good to help me remove like splinters or anything that I that can get in my eyes. Little electric tape and a rubber tube that could be used to help me drink water out of crack in a rock, or I could make like a slingshot which should help me get some food. I hope you guys enjoyed this video on my survival kit, this update on my survival kit. I just want to emphasize that whatever survival kits I make, they will mostly try to touch, at least partially touch, those 5 or 6 areas which are important and crucial to your survival, which are shelter, fire, water, signaling, navigation, and food. If my kit can at least reach out some of those aspects to a degree, that's good enough, and I should be glad with them. As for the kit you guys have just seen, this is my main kit, the one that I mostly take to the bush with me. I have other kits which are not as complete as that one. If you guys have any comments, if there is anything you want to say, please feel free to do so. This was Giuliano Toniolo from Brazil, and I'll see you in the bonus.
Alright, let's bring ourselves back up. Sorry about that. There we go. Bring you back up in the room, Giuliano.
Oh yeah, bro.
Alright. So, going over your kit.
That's right. So, like I mentioned in the video, that's my main kit, which means it is my most complete kit. As you might have noticed, I even have a hammock, added to that kit, because based on previous experiences, I learned that if I could add to my survival kit something which would help me create a shelter as fast as I could, using the minimum calories and the minimum amount of time to accomplish it. That's the way I wanted to go for. I remember like a few years ago, Mac and I, we decided to have this training trip where we wanted to, try out the items, the components of our survival kits. And one thing that I remember really well, it took us hours of hard work to prepare to make us the bush beds, to bushcraft us the bush beds on which we were going to sleep. And so again, lots of time, lots of calories. By adding a small, lightweight, compact hammock to my kit and a military poncho, I can, to a degree, very satisfactorily, if that's correct to say, I can take care of the shelter problem without, too much of hard work. I would say that maybe 20 minutes, maybe even less. And I can set a hammock and a tarp above the hammock and thus provide me a shelter. This is the way to go for here. Again, that kit might not be the best kit for your area. Actually, regardless the place where you live, I think people should try out the components of their survival kits and actually work on their survival kits, add elements and components to their survival kit which fit them better, because something that might, let's say, an item that might fit me well might not fit somebody else as good as it fits me, as well as it fits me. And then people should know what they carry in their kits, because when the stuff hits the fan, this is not the time for you to start trying out and figuring out how you're going to spend your night. You've got to be able to figure out how much time it's going to take you, how many calories, and solve those problems fast. Then, again, but that's my main kit. My secondary kits don't have the hammock, for example, which are the kits I usually take to the Cerrado areas. In the Cerrado areas, we don't really have a whole lot of trees close together, or we got like smaller and bush-like trees, which are not even as resistant as the tropical forest trees. So I could easily make a ground shelter just using dry grass, or I would clean up me a clean spot, a clean patch of ground, and then make me a bush grass, a grass bed on the ground, and stretch a rain poncho above my head. I've done it before, that works, so I don't necessarily have to have a hammock if I'm going to the Cerrado. Anyway, if it's not going to add a lot of weight or make a lot of volume to my kit, I think it's still a good idea for people to have a hammock, a lightweight, compact, easy setting hammock in their kits. It pays off. It's a commodity that definitely pays off.
I would not sleep on the ground down there if you paid me.
No, you don't want to
But
do. I mean, you might have in a situation where you might not have, for example, either the time to make yourself a bush bed or the right equipment like a hammock. You might have to spend your night on the ground. That doesn't mean that you're going to sleep on the ground. You're going to be praying all night long for the day to break in. And if you have like a flashlight or one of those light sticks, you will be, figuring out what else is on the ground there with you. And even if you sleep, it's for a very short time. You don't really get the right mindset to relax and go for a nap, unless you're really beaten up and you're really tired and you have been through that ordeal for a longer period. You might not have a better option.
you lay down on the ground in Brazil. You wake up either 10 feet away, or you're being carried off, or you wake up while something's chewing on you.
Oh yeah, you're you're right on that, brother. That's pretty much the way it goes here.
But I
So,
want everybody to understand, it's not the big things you have to worry about. It's the tiny insects that you have to worry about down there. The ants will carry you off. The other little biting, stinging things that crawl around that are just will get in your ears and crawl up your legs and all those things. Those are the nasties that'll keep you awake. I'm surprised. I'm surprised you don't use more. When I watch your videos, it surprises me you don't use more mosquito netting or something like that.
No, thank God my area here is not, let's say the mosquito situation is not so intense or as serious as it is in other parts of the country. Now, again, as for the Amazonian environment or even the Pantanal, you might have some serious mosquito, even Rio de Janeiro in certain parts of the state, you might have some serious problems with mosquitoes and those bugs and whatnot. But in my area, you do have mosquitoes at certain parts of the day. For example, let's say 5 p.m. until 6 p.m. That's the time when they mostly go out and they're really thirsty for blood. And that's what they do. They go there, suck your blood out, and move on to feed their babies with your blood. And that's the way it is. If you have a good repellent, and again, for me, what works and what I like spreading on me and using as repellent is DEET. I do have the U.S. Army DEET-based repellent that comes in that green bottle, and that works awesome. I just spread some on my hands, on my face, and the areas of my skin which are exposed, and I got no problems. But again, I have no allergies to DEET or any components in the repellent, so that's okay for me. For other people, you should know whether you are allergic to DEET or not before using it, because I know that people who are really allergic to it might have some serious problems. And so I don't really have to worry so much about mosquitoes here. Besides, you have clothing. You have your jacket. You usually have a hood. You don't have much skin layer, much skin surface exposed, so a little repellent should take care of it. Again, repellents, people have to understand when you put on repellent, it's not like on the movies, all of a sudden you have this invisible barrier protecting you, keeping off bugs. The bugs will keep flying around your ears and buzzing around your ears and doing that stuff, which actually disturbs you a little bit, but they won't stop. They won't land on your skin and won't suck out of your skin. So that's what the repellent does. But again, you still have bugs and stuff flying around you. And if you're really, it depends on a lot of conditions, but if you are psychologically okay and you're not really in a survival situation, you're just camping, you might not have to wear a head net. Mac actually gave me a head net, very interesting one, which I usually put on when we have bees or wasps or any stinging, flying bug around. Then that's something good and useful to have around. But yeah, you were right, Rich. I don't usually use many or much of a mosquito net down here in my area. If I went to the Amazon again or the Pantanal, I would probably have to have some of that equipment on me. That's another.
That's the important thing you point out in your area. In your area, that's the most important thing to point out. So yeah, everybody's area is going to be different. Here, if you go, with Florida or something like that, Louisiana, we're expecting a lot of mosquitoes. Here it depends on the time of the year, and it depends on if you're near water or not near water. We're near stagnant water. Those different things where they breed. Of course, you're going to have more problems.
That's right. I remember while watching one of those videos on YouTube, this guy was in Alaska. And I thought, man, Alaska, it's a cold place, so they probably have no mosquitoes, no bug problems there. And I was surprised to see this, like a cloud of them, flies and mosquitoes swarming around and buzzing around. I couldn't believe it. I thought, dang, they also have that kind of problem there. And
up north they have a terrible thing called a black fly.
I've heard of those.
Yeah.
Never.
Oh man, they will suck you dry. They come in big clouds. Black flies are nasty thing. Now, are there, you talked about your kit. You talked about we saw the video on your kit. Have you made any changes to that kit?
Oh yeah.
Your kit is always evolving, always changing.
Yep.
Now you use something I don't normally use. I don't normally use things to purify my water besides boiling it or filtering it. So I don't actually carry iodine tablets or things like that. So, uh, what are some major changes between that video and now that you've done to your kit?
Basically, the most important aspect which has changed is the extractor, the poison extractor, which was supposed to work as a device to extract, like a snake poison or any other bugs poison that has been injected into your body, into your skin. When I first got it, I thought it was the greatest idea ever, and I even made a YouTube video for that. But then this really nice dude from Portugal sent me a message, and he sent me some reports from independent sources and recent reports which show that they don't actually extract anything; they just suck. And actually, I don't want to get into details now. There are many interesting, like I said, serious reports from different sources that has shown that they are not really reliable.
Right.
So I have actually removed that piece of equipment out of my kit, and I'm going to make a video to add this new information about the extractor. I don't know. I'm not saying that it doesn't work. Absolutely no way. But it might work for other kinds of stings like bee, wasps, or bug bites, for example. I'm not sure if it would work out well either. But anyway, for snakes, forget about it. It's not the way to go. So we still don't have anything that will effectively and quickly treat your snake bites in case you get bitten. And this is a main concern that I have in my area because, again, in the next couple of days, I'll be going for a 10-day trip to the bush. I might not even be here for some of our coming shows because I really need this good time off in the Atlantic forest.
All right.
And my main concern there is Giuliano, don't get bitten by snakes. Don't get bitten by snakes because if I do, I'm in deep stuff there.
Well, one of the things you should remember if you ever get bitten by a snake is try to remain calm.
That's right.
Try and keep that. If you get bit on the leg, you want to get it higher than your heart.
Oh yeah, but that's
you want to try and slow that blood flow down, going back and going through your system because
yeah.
those
Yep.
kind of things, keeping that going on. Now, some people say, "Oh, well, put a tourniquet on it." No, that's not going to work because then you're just going to kill off whatever your blood's not going to get to your foot, or if you get bit on the hand, your blood's not going to get to your hand.
Yeah, that's right.
Try and get to an antidote is the best thing if they have it. Remain calm and do the best you can that way. If you go running through the bush, you're just helping to pump that poison faster through your body. That's not a good way to go.
That's right. And that's my main concern because this area where I'm going to, it is down in the valley, in the river valley, which is choked with Atlantic forest. And if I want to get out that valley, I have to walk up out that valley about 500 meters in a really bad trail. And there's some other about another kilometer and a half maybe of dirt road, secondary road, until I get to another dirt road, which might increase my chances of being rescued because the traffic there is heavier. So I would stop there and try to see if anybody would stop and give me a ride to the hospital. Because if I had to walk, I would be in trouble.
Are you going with other people?
I'm sorry, no, I'm going all alone.
Going all alone. Okay.
Yeah, it is not really. I don't recommend people going alone to the bush, especially for extended periods of time. But if you have the right gear and if you are responsible, do the right stuff, you might
experience.
Yeah, yeah, but let's be realistic and honest about it, Rich. There's always
somebody's going to know where you're going, though.
Oh yeah, of course.
You've got to take safety precautions.
Yeah, the basic precautions and procedures. These are like basic. That's no way you can skip those. So let people know where you're going, how long you're staying, leave a map, leave a, that kind of information for people, so it makes it easier in case you don't return. People actually can go there and rescue out. Where I go, we have no cell phone signal. If I want to talk with people, I would have to climb, to walk up a hill about 3 or 4 kilometers until I get to a height where I can get some cell phone signal, and I might have to do it at least once during the spirit of time, so people will know that I'm okay. If something happens and I'm not able to contact people, say, so they will probably know that I'm in trouble. And one of my good friends here know the area well too. I have told him I'm going there if I don't return, or if people, if it's necessary, he knows where he can find me, and that should help. However, you must pay attention where you're going, where you're stepping, where you hold, because even paying attention, the chances and the risks are really high. You might be just walking along a trail and a branch falls off a tree and kills you. There's nothing you can add to your survival kit other than a helmet, and maybe not even that, that would actually prevent you from having a bad day if a branch fell off a tree and hit you in the head. So, I mean, there's the risk of, things happening. And if I tried to figure out every freaking possibility of, stuff hitting the fan out, my survival kit would be as big as it gets. So, we try to figure out the most likely risks, those things which statistically kill people more often in the bush, and try to prevent those things from happening. Other than that, pay attention to what you do, take those basic precaution steps, and pray God, and try to have a good time, because you can have a good time. And more than practicing bushcraft, more than learning survival skills, more than being closer to nature, which is all good, to me, it is a way for me to step inwards, to face myself and see, have this long time. I think people should experience being alone to a degree of time, to a period of time in the bush, because we have mentioned that here before too. This is a good chance you have to get to know you better. You get to know yourself better, how you respond to things. Because again, when you're camping out there with people, you have your friends, you have the fire going, you're talking, you're laughing, you're telling jokes, whatever. You create a psychological atmosphere where you feel comfortable, and that are, it's renewed by other people's and thoughts and everything, all that. But when you're all alone, you've got the whole game is being played inside your head alone, and you have to be able to know yourself, how you respond when you're out there. For example, me, myself, every time I'm out there in the bush, at first I didn't know why it happened, but now I do. Let's say in between 5:30, 6:30, which is the time when it usually gets dark here, I feel depressed. I feel really depressed, and I didn't know why I felt like that. And I love being out there in the bush. Everybody who knows me know that. And during that short period of time, I would even regret being out there, and I would start having all kinds of stupid thoughts, like I'm gonna die, my daughter will become an orphan, something bad's gonna happen, and I had this bad feeling altogether, and sometimes I couldn't even explain that. After that, when it became night, I was into night mode, and then I was okay again. So it took me years to know myself, know how I responded to that short period of time, and to adjust my psychological, controls here, whatever it is, that helped me out dealing with those situations. And now I'm okay, even though I'm out there and I know I'll be a little bit depressed. I know it's for a short period of time. I'll be good pretty soon after that. I remember my first time camping out there with Mac. I said, "Hey Mac, when it's 6 o'clock, around 6, I'll be quiet, but don't worry, right? I'll be fine." And then 6 o'clock he goes, "Hey Giuliano, what's going on?" I said, "No, I'm cool, I'm fine." And he found it was really interesting, because I indeed was like.
Do you want to tell us Do you want to tell us why that happens?
I think I have some friends. They are shrinks, psychologists, and they have told me that this is actually not a personal reaction, but a human reaction to that specific moment during the day. Because that's what the shrinks told me. Psychologically, that very moment when it's not daylight, it's not night, that represents death. So a lot of people are affected by that short period of time. And what happens in modern societies is during that short moment, we usually are inside the houses, inside malls, and we don't see the transition between day and night. And we skip that short period and we don't go through that. And besides, we have people, we're working, we got movies, we got the whole society around. Whereas when you are out there alone in the bush, you are more sensitive to those changes in nature, and that dates back to as long as we are out here in the bushes and trying to survive out there. So I had the chance to experience it myself before I could even understand what was going on. And I do believe nowadays that it indeed has to do with this death moment which is present in between the transition of the day.
The way I understand it, it has to go all the way back to, as they said, caveman times, because the fact that the human beings, the light is going away, the darkness is coming on. It's that transitional period when we would get scared that we were, now the night predators are going to be coming out. We start realizing things are changing, and it's not changing for the good as us as humans.
That's right.
It goes all the way back to that. Now that's my understanding of it.
Well, it
And
makes
that
sense.
psyche is still with us. You know, that transitional period is still affects some people that are in that. You know, and other people, some people really enjoy that part. Oh, look, now the stars are going to come out. And it's all perspective on different things.
Yeah, and even with me, it's not 100% always like depressive and bad moment. Many times I'm okay. I just don't feel. I don't feel nothing. I'm normal. But I have to be honest. Most of the times I do have some degree of depressive feelings, but I know how to deal with
You think
with
it's
it.
more uncomfortable than depressive?
No, I wouldn't say uncomfortable. I would say sad. I would
Yeah.
get sad. See, this is weird because, like I said, I started. Nowadays, I get a hold of myself and I can control my thoughts better, and I don't start thinking stupid
Yeah.
things like I'm gonna die or my daughter gonna be an orphan or whatever. But I still have this little depressive feeling down deep inside in my chest, and I just fight it off. And I try to think of all the stuff that I'm doing when it gets dark, see if I get everything right.
If you're busy and that happens, do you notice it?
This is also another interesting aspect because when you're out there, your mind can play tricks on you, and if you don't, I mean, you start listening and hearing sounds, from the bush. And I remember during training, survival training, some of my students at night they have the fire guard, the fire shift. They have one of them has to stay up, and this guy comes to me and says, "Man, there's someone out there. I heard a noise in the jungle." I said, "Really? You think there's someone out there in the jungle right now?" He said, "Yes, I heard a noise." I said, "Listen, if you yourself had to go out there for whatever reasons, would you go out there in the dark?" He says, "Of course not. I would have a flashlight. Anybody walking in the jungle at night would have to have a flashlight. If you hear anything, it's an animal, and probably a harmless animal, because the ones that can kill you will come silently. When you realize they are out there already, and then it's too late. If you hear something, it's probably okay. It's just like an anta, a capybara, whatever. It's not like something really harmful, threatening. You know what I'm saying here?
Right.
So we have to learn how to deal with those psychological aspects, because darkness plays a trick on your mind. Loneliness plays a trick on your mind.
The psychological side of bushcraft and survival is,
Exactly.
you know,
Exactly. And I think that every moment you have alone, by the fire in a camp, you have a precious chance to learn more about yourself, to learn how you react and respond to those circumstances, and it's just a good thing to know. We should know how we deal, how we respond to, and how we cope with a certain circumstances and situations that we might have to face.
You said something just a second ago that piqued my interest. That have been, I don't want to go into it on this show, but fire. So many people will go out and make a fire. One, for the light so they can see. Two, to keep the boogeyman away. Of course, there's uses of cooking over a fire and other things, but we all know we've been in a camp where we didn't have to cook, where we didn't really need that fire in the middle of the summertime. You light that fire anyway because psychologically you want that light there so that you can see other things. You want that kindred spirit of your friends gathering around the fire, and then the fire drives the boogeyman away.
You see these two things here, a knife and a fire.
Mm-hmm.
Tell you what, a knife was the very first tool we ever made. We were walking naked in Africa, and we didn't even have a sheath, and we already had a knife, and then we had fire. If you have a blade and if you have the means to make fire in a camp, if you can affect these two things, you will actually create some sort of a psychological stability for you to go through that. And that's pretty much what you said. If you are sitting by the fire at night, you just feel more confident, even though it's not really cold, and even though you don't really need that fire to cook or warm up yourself. Just having a fire burning there creates the sensation of a place. I remember seeing one of these shows, Ray Mears, and he was in Australia with these Aboriginal guys. It was like daylight, and they were in a desert. And the guy wanted to start a fire just to create an environment, like we have a place, we are here, and that's pretty much the way it goes. So fire can actually, buying the stability you need to learn, how to deal and how to cope with all these situations and problems and stuff we're talking about here.
If we don't have a knife, it's very funny that we will pick up a stick and try and sharpen the end of it on something.
That's what I'm saying.
Very, very basic, isn't it? Those things. If you don't have a knife or a gun, you might pick up a stick and try and make a spear or something, or something like that. It all falls back to those items.
Oh yeah.
In our psyche, that goes back to that.
Exactly. I mean, I'm not in the jungle. I live in a big city, and every day you will find a blade and a lighter in my pockets. Even though I don't have to start a fire or use a blade for many activities in the city, it's in our DNA. I have a good friend here in Brazil. He's a bladesmith, JB, and he says something that every guy likes. Knives, even though you don't know you do. You know what I'm saying? I mean, even though you don't know that you like knives, you do. Down deep inside you do, because it is in our DNAs. We've been carrying knives for so long on this planet that we just can't ignore it, even in modern days. That's right. So, yeah.
And it's funny that some places in town that do business, they have found that if they have candles on the tables, or something that represents like a candle on a table, they will actually get more business than a place that does not.
Oh, really? Wow.
There's a lot of different, in the old bars, they used to put candles on the tables and stuff like that. They actually did more business that way than they do without it.
Wow, that they think it attracts people?
It attracts people. It's like moth to a flame. Wow. We as humans do the same thing. If you go into a store and they got knives on the counter, what are you going to be looking at?
Oh, the very first thing you see. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
You could go into a clothing store and there'd be clothes. If there's knives in the counter, you're going to find those knives. You're going to see them. You're going to find them, and you're going to look at those knives on the counter. It doesn't matter if they're pieces of junk, and you know they're junk. You're still going to go find those knives.
I was going to say that sometimes you enter those shops that sell those really cheapy and cheesy Chinese products and blades. You know that they are crap. You know that there's nothing good there, but you still go there and you still check them out. You say, oh, that profile ain't too bad, even though you know that the steel sucks and everything. It's in our blood. It is in our DNA, dude, and we just can't fight it. It's, I personally don't see blades as weapons. I see them as tools.
Right.
Uh, Blades, like let's say knives or swords or daggers, these things just became weapons when metal started going around, when we had copper, because then it was strong enough and long enough to be used to stab people and everything, because a knife was only good to slice food, skin animals, maybe do some
Spread butter. Yeah.
yeah, and come on, seriously, I mean, a knife. It wasn't long enough. There was no penetration power to go through clothes and all the skin clothes that people had. The weapons they had were like all this stuff. But yeah, that's it. I think that's all for tonight, right?
Yes, sir. We're down to the time, to our time limit.
Okay.
So, just so everybody knows, all shows are going to start being about 55 minutes long because they have to be able to be posted up on our Roku channel. So we're shooting for putting that up.
All
I
right.
want to thank Giuliano for coming. If you can't make the next show, that's okay. We'll cover for you, buddy. I just want you to have a good time being out there and enjoying yourself.
Thank you, brother. I'll let you know for sure.
You know, make sure you come back safe to us.
Hopefully, right? I hope so.
So, are you going to do any fishing or anything while you're out there? I mean,
I'm taking some fishing gear. Let's see if I'm lucky enough with fish. I'm not usually that lucky, but yeah, let's see it. I'll be filming it though too.
all right, very good, very good. All right, well, Giuliano, we will see you here in another week, maybe, depending on what's going on.
Yeah.
And
Anyway, we can play some videos if I'm not here.
I'll send you down some snow.
Oh, please do that. Do that. I want to pack some and take to the jungle with me. I'll be needing it.
There you go. There you go. All right, my friend. You have a good night. Thanks everybody for being here. Stay tuned. We'll be on with Doc in just a minute.
Okay. Yeah. Hi, Doc. How are you doing, man? See you guys later.